Welcome to a more just and merciful world. I'm Kathy Humphrey. I serve as president of Carlow University. On this podcast, we talk to leaders, teachers, artists, scientists, and historians around the globe to explore how to bring more justice and mercy in our own world. Today, I am so privileged to have with me a Carlow alum, a Carlow board member, a Pittsburgh powerhouse, someone who I truly admire, Sabrina Saunders Mosby. Welcome to the show, Sabrina.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are so glad to have you because I just think this conversation can just go in many different ways. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about what you do and how your work helps us to create a more just and merciful world.
Absolutely. So I have the privilege of serving as president and CEO of Vibrant Pittsburgh. And Vibrant is our region's central resource for all things workplace inclusion, which means we're working with our region's businesses to create workplaces where people want to work and a region that can thrive.
Mm-hmm. And so very important that how your work really touches the whole city when you think about it and the impact your work can have on the whole city, even in this environment.
Absolutely. It's a 10-county region reach. And so we are touching organizations and lives outside of the Pittsburgh region and, of course, in our Pittsburgh core. The important thing to remember is that inclusion is not just something that's optional, right? This is something that needs to be woven into the fabric of not just our workplaces, but our communities. And so when you think about innovation and trust and what it really takes to build community, having a culture that is attractive is fueled by inclusion. And that's the work that we're doing today.
And the one thing I think is really important about this whole notion of inclusion is just that. We're talking about everybody.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about some people. We're talking about how we are all coming together and creating a better workforce, creating a better world. I am sure that Catherine McCauley is smiling down upon you because in actuality, that's the work that the Sisters of Mercy started here in Pittsburgh, in the 1800s. Really, they came here to meet the next great need. And that's exactly what you have chosen to do with your career. Tell me a little bit about how did you get to that career? How did you get to that space?
Oh my goodness. So community has always supported me. And so when I think about growing up in Pittsburgh and the parents that would sit on the porch and watch after all of the kids in the community to the community leaders that would walk up and down the street and look after us in the summers, making sure we had jobs. Community has always taken care of me. And so it's just a part of who I am that I would want to invest in that same community that did so much for me. What I see now is that it's not community in that way. It's not organic. You've got to work to build that kind of community today. And so I'm really privileged to be able to have my life work embody those elements, the tenets that really supported me along my journey when I was just figuring it out. And so I've led a number of nonprofit organizations. I've worked in government for over a decade. And every component of leadership, every space that I've leaned into, a major part of that has been building a better community and creating a space that's better for the people that are part of it.
So interesting. So one of the things I say to our students, I say a lot of things to our students, but one of the things that I say is that our greatest hope is that you're not just successful, but that you play a significant role first in our own community, first in your home, and then maybe even in the world, right? And you embody that. I mean, your statement that you just made is said, I have used my life to make our community better.
Yeah. And I'm a Pittsburgher, right? Pittsburgher born and bred. Mm-hmm. And so when I think about the trajectory of my career, there's one question that I'm consistently asked and that I've been asked throughout my career. Why did you stay in Pittsburgh? Mm-hmm. Right? When you think about opportunity and where you go to seek opportunity. I stayed here because the foundation of my leadership has been built here. And that also was created at Carlow, right? Thinking about the way that I had access to opportunity, the doors that were open for me. Now, don't get me wrong, I worked hard, really, really hard. And
Because you still had to walk in the door.
absolutely, you have to walk in and you've got to do the work, right? And sometimes it's isolating, right? Being like, I'm sure that you know, right? Leadership can be isolating and it can be very lonely. But when I look at the history of my community and the people that have come before me, when I look at the neighborhoods that I've lived in and the richness of those neighborhoods and how those things came to be, I think about myself and what I've been able to sow into those spaces as well. I look back on it as an opportunity, right? Just to be add my name to the list of people who contributed to this region and to this community in a way that made a difference. And I'm proud of that. So I stay because I know I'm making a difference. I stay because it's making a difference in my life too.
Yes. I think that's so important, right? Because oftentimes when we think we're getting just as much back from it. Pittsburgh has become my home. Yeah. And so I resonate with all that you were saying about, how do we make this space better? It's work that you are constantly trying to do, and you have that commitment of giving back, right? So the other thing I say is all the time to students, to whom much is given, much is required. And I see you really taking that mantra to a whole nother level. You have embodied the fact that you have been given much. You have been given many opportunities, and it takes opportunities. But you are giving so much back too, and I'm very appreciative of your commitment to the community. Not only your commitment to the community, your commitment to the people in the community. Because sometimes we think about community and think about buildings and spaces, but we're really talking about people.
Absolutely, my people, our community,
right?
All of us, really. And listening to you say that, it reminds me of how caught up you can actually get in that journey, though. Mm-hmm. And so, this last year has been really tough. Mm-hmm. There's a lot going on in our environment, socio-politically, in our communities, just in our world. There's a lot going on. And I took a step back because I was so in it that I was starting to lose myself. Right? Good. In the mission. The mission of bettering community, bettering the spaces for people, you can get caught up in that and lose yourself. Like, well, what about me? How am I investing in me? How am I making sure that my head's still on straight and my why is still my why? Because there's so much to do. There's so much work to be done. And I forgot that although too much is given, much is required, it's not required that you do all that work by yourself.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And I, for a while, I'd forgotten that. And it was getting really heavy. Yeah. And it's easy for things to get heavy when the work is hard. It's challenging. These conversations are very difficult. We can't sugarcoat it. It's difficult. We're talking about values. We're talking about people's experiences, the things that they know to be true. Right? The things that they know for sure to be true. We're asking them to question that, perhaps, to reconsider it even, to consider others.
So Sabrina, a lot of people just kind of raising their hands, like, if I can't do that, I can't do anything, right? How are you staying in it?
So I told you that it got very overwhelming, and I had to kind of take a step back and reevaluate the way that I was showing up and how it was impacting me. And honestly, it's very connected to my faith. I am optimistic, but I am also very faithful. I believe that this is my journey, and I'm on it for a reason. But I was reminded that there's clarity in stillness. And a little over a year ago, I did a TEDx, And it was one of the hardest things I ever did. And the focus of it was the power of pause and the joy of missing out. And I went on a little journey myself to pause and to reevaluate things. And that is where true clarity emerges, right? A way to refocus. And I was so happy to find that still my why, why do I do this? Why am I so invested? Why does it matter that I use my talents in this way? Is my family. I'm a mom, I'm a wife to two amazing men. And I love them, and they are phenomenal. They are exceptional human beings. And we deserve a world and a community that is worthy of us.
Yes.
And I'm just playing a part in it.
Yes.
And there are people that I can lean on to help.
I want to press into that a little bit more, because oftentimes as professional women, we don't hear people talk about their other calling. So yes, you're called to do the work that you do professionally. Clearly, you are meeting that call. But this call to be a mom and this call to be a wife, how do you balance it?
I don't balance it. I don't balance it at all. It sometimes is a mess, and it's my beautiful mess, and we figure it out. We've got a lot of help. I'm from Pittsburgh, as I keep mentioning, and I'm very proud of that. And so we have family that help and support, help me to be a better mom by lightening the load. That's really important and helpful. But
I think it's really great that you tell everybody who's listening is that it's a mess.
It is a mess.
And guess what? It's okay.
It's a
that
mess.
It's a mess, because messes get figured out if you own that it's a mess, right? So let's go a little bit further into you went to Carlow, and we have values that we weave through all of our teaching. All of our faculty do that. Talk to me a little bit about, what did you take from Carlow that you believe impacted your leadership today?
Sure, absolutely. So it's probably not widely known, but I attended Catholic school for my entire education. I am Christian, and of course have embodied and also have benefited from the tenets of a Catholic education. And so when choosing Carlow, it was a part of the ecosystem, right, that I was familiar with, and an easy choice for me. When I attended Carlow, I was working full-time in government. And what I will tell you is, while working in government and pursuing a degree that really helped you dissect leadership and in the organizations in which leadership exists, it was probably the perfect marriage from a timing perspective, because I was able to amplify the work that I was doing through the learning in the classroom. It's not just about classes and the degrees of it. It's about what's being invested in you as a person, right? And so a Carlow education is, of course, about learning the tenets of your profession, the subject, your work, but also really learning about how you're going to embody those things as a person, and how you humanize them, how you bring your own personal values into them. And that's very different than other educational institutions. And so it was a great match for the person I am, the leader that I want to be. I think that it was, again, timing was perfect, as I was working in government. And as you may presume, right, there are tons of ethical dilemmas that come up in the government space all the time, every day. And so being able to balance the challenge of the real world with some of the learning in the classroom, at that time I felt fully equipped, really even more equipped than maybe even some of my classmates.
So then you decide, I'm going to be a board member. Why did you say yes to us when we asked you to come onto our board?
Well, selfishly, because I admire and respect you as a leader, and I most certainly was impressed with your introduction to leadership here at Carlow. Right, that's certainly important, and the foundation of it It's important to believe in the person that's leading the organization, but you got to believe in the mission of the organization as well, and who you can be to help support it, what you can bring to the table. And when invited to consider the opportunity, one, I thought that, yes, I do have something significant, skill and interest, talent and treasure to invest in Carlow University. I also owe a great deal to Carlow, being a recipient of the teaching and education from the institution. I felt like part of it is duty, right? And so it's a great pairing, and I'm having a fantastic time learning about and helping hopefully to contribute to the leadership here at the school.
And we so appreciate you bringing all that to the board.
I'm also learning, I should mention, right? And so, even though I serve as a board director in other spaces, the academic space is unique, and the challenges are also unique. And so, although I'm bringing skills and relationships and, of course, interest to the board, it's about learning from your fellow board members as well, their experiences and their insights that help you grow as a leader as well. And I'm enjoying that.
That's great. That's fantastic. I'm gonna move a little bit back to the open door comment that you made earlier, because you've gotten a lot of opportunities. But in order to get those opportunities, you have to do things.
Sure.
And we have a lot of young people that are listening. We have alumni who are listening. How did you get those opportunities? Because some people can just seem not to get the opportunity to walk in the door. They're willing, but how do you start creating those opportunities?
Sure. Well, first you've got to be doing the work, and I am humbled, right, by the opportunities that have been presented to me, and know that a lot of it has a lot to do with other people and what they envision. But you've got to not just be in the right place at the right time. You've got to be doing the right thing at that time as well. And
That's so good.
I would say that from a very early, my mom was a hard worker, right? And she raised a hardworking young woman. And so hard work and perseverance. And
what does hard work look like to you? I could echo that 100 times. Like, for example, I say to people all the time, I've done a lot of free work, and a lot of free work really hard. And that free work was a part of some of the formulation of opportunity too.
Absolutely.
But what does it mean to you? Because, when I say that to people, they look at me like, what do you mean you get a lot of free work, right?
Well, first and foremost, you want to be the solution to somebody's problem.
Exactly.
Every time.
Yes.
All the time. And so if you can find yourself in a position to where you are the answer, where you identify a need that needs to be fulfilled, you are putting yourself in position to be seen and to be respected, and also to be needed.
Yes.
Right? You want to be needed in the space. And so I leaned into that, right? I was observant while working hard. I also learned really early about building strong and meaningful relationships, right? Nothing that's transactional. Actually connecting with people on a real level. And that was something that I just had a knack for. I don't know why. It may be family, maybe community, but I was always interested in others, and that helped. But I've recognized that along the way, having those true, genuine relationships that are not transactional have created a pathway for doors to be opened as well, right? Because people knew me, right? They could trust that I might do this, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but how did you make that happen? Because I do think that's important. This whole thing is being the answer, being somebody's answer. That's huge. That is, being observant.
Sure.
Connecting. But how do you connect?
How do you connect? You connect on the most basic level. Just caring.
Yeah.
Just caring, right? Caring about what people are going through, what they're doing, what they're interested in, and not intentionally finding a way to make a connection, but organically letting those connections fall. Being interested and caring about people. When you care about what people are dealing with and what they're experiencing, they notice that. They recognize it. And it's not something that you can just figure out over time. It's just got to be a part of who you are. Right. And so selfishness is not, in my mind, does not have any place in real relationship building.
Right. I also think this whole notion of being there, right? Like, I see you all the time in the community, right? We're just always there, right? And the impact, you can't get into a relationship if you're just not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
Right?
I will say this, though. Sometimes people get a little bit nervous about showing up. You know, connecting with folks, being in spaces where there are leaders that maybe you admire, maybe you don't feel as comfortable. And I've experienced that. You know, I don't feel that I am as young as I used to be, but as I was, growing through leadership, I was the young person in the room. I was the only Black woman in the room. In many cases, and it can be difficult to try and find your way to connect with folks when you don't really feel as though you belong. And perfection is not what people remember. And I think that that's a myth in real life. That's a myth. People remember presence, that you showed up, that you were there, that you made the effort to be in the space. That's what they remember, not perfection. And if we can hold on to that and lead with that, I think that more people would make more valuable connections.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, Sabrina, I want to talk to you about ethical leadership. It's an issue every day in the news. It's an issue in our community from time to time. Talk to me about, what do you see as ethical leadership, and what message do you want to give to the world about it?
Sure. Ethical leadership is so vitally important today. If we can lead from a space of an open mind, an open heart, I think that we all can find common ground. And being ethical leaders charges us with doing the hard work. The hard work with investing in learning and loving in a new way. And so during this time where things can be really confusing, where things are inconsistent, when there's a lot of fear in our community and in the world, it's going to be the ethical leaders, those that lead with their heart and an open mind and with grace, that are going to get us through. We cannot fall back on the things that feel right. We have to lean into the things that perhaps we've never experienced before as leaders, and be open to a new way of doing things as leaders. And ethical leadership, to me, is the foundation of not just my work, it's what I aspire to do. I said my why is my family. My how is leadership, and hopefully as an ethical leader.
Yeah, that's so good. Sabrina, I could talk to you all day and all night. Thank you so much for sharing with us and being with us today. I think you have left some real nuggets here for our community. Thanks for being a part of Carlow.
Thank you for having me.
Good talk.